This Patreon reward goes out to a brand new patron by the name of Indrium. Thank you for your donation, and they have decided to ask me several questions in character about Salexi themselves, almost like an interview. And so, let us begin. Question 1. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. I am, of course, as all of you know, am Salexi Rabane. I am the Tempter. I am he who is seen and unseen. I am the voice that's in your mind, telling you what you desire most of all. But the more and more you take, the less and less you will have. And when you are left with nothing, that's where I'll be there, to give you a whole new life, in my image, in me. Question 2. Tell us your origins, of your parents perhaps? If you're talking about when I was still alive on Earth, that was many a moon ago, roughly around the time when the Roman Empire was slowly falling apart and Byzantine was becoming a thing. I lived in the area of what we now call France. Don't know exactly where, but it was roughly around that area. The Roman Empire, as I was saying, was falling apart. Villages were barely being protected, constantly raided by barbarians, but we happened to be in an area that just happened to be hidden away from all of that. At one point, a cultist of most blasphemous kind came to our village, burned it down, killed everyone, and whisked me away to that little cult hideout. I never knew my parents. They died before I could even get a proper view of their face, for I was but a mere infant. I was sent to this cult to be a little pleasure toy for them. Slowly and eventually, as I grew older, I rose from the ranks in their little cult of being a slave all the way to being its master, until my eventual death. Question 3. What's life like growing up for the Rabane? Again, if you're referring to my mortal life, it was not so glamorous. I was whipped, beaten, and, violated every single night in that cult, made to be their little fleshy pleasure toy, until eventually I rose in the ranks and became their master. But as I got older, I grew to love it, the pain, the torture, the abuse. It got so bad to a point of where I considered it as normal. Bear in mind, I did not have parents or a normal upbringing. Raised in this cult, it taught me that there was no such thing as good and evil. There was just evil. It was considered normal for me. That, and I was raised to live in this cultist hideout, deep underneath the city of Constantinople, of which we currently now call Istanbul, during the time when Byzantine was a thing. The next 2 questions are adjacent to each other for the answer, so I will put them both together. Question 4. How did you come to power? And question 5. What is your relation to the Goetia family? Many of you who have been with me for a while know the answer to this, but there are many of you who are brand new. So, for the sake of those who are new, I shall elaborate. I am not actually a Goetia. This flesh of mine is but an illusion, and my prison as well. A very long time ago, when I died, Lucifer wanted to prove that he could be a great creator like their father. They wanted to create the rebus of life, a being that was both angelic, demonic, and mortal at the same time, to unify the universe once again. But by doing so would defy the very fabric of life itself, but he did so anyway. He took the lifeless, dead body of an unknown Guisha, an enormous amount of holy and demonic power, and mashed all of it together, using my soul, a mortal soul, together as the final ingredient. I willingly offered myself upon the altar of this sacrifice, because I had a spiteful vendetta against God. I wanted to prove that I could be something better than them. Lucifer had more wholesome intentions. I had more vicious intentions. And so, when this ritual happened, a horrible chain reaction occurred, because like I said, to do such a thing would defy the natural order of life and cannot be done. Doing so would be like creating God all over again, and no one, not even Lucifer, can do that. And instead of being this beautiful rebus, this symbol of perfection, I am now a horrible spiritual parasite, an aberration of life, a walking black hole in the fabric of life itself. I am not death. That is a title claimed only by Azrael. I am the end of all things. I am entropy. I am a black hole. I consume souls not for power, but just to fuel myself, to keep myself alive just one more day. And sometimes I wonder why. Question 6. What influences do you have in hell? Ah, that's the best part. You see, technically speaking, I have no authority at all. According to hell's law, I am but a mere peasant. However, this flesh has its advantages. People look at me and see a Goetia, and they automatically assume that I have authority just by my appearance alone. And I go with it. I roll with it. And they're all none the wiser. Even if someone did find out the truth, who's gonna believe them? It's my word against theirs. Especially if it was some common imp or sinner telling them that. Who they gonna believe, However, even if they did figure it out, slowly, bit by bit, day by day, I search all of hell and all of the earth, finding anyone of value, anyone of worth, people who are talented, strong, and oh so useful. And I slowly develop small little cults all over hell's streets on every ring. Eventually, one day, I will have enough followers to commence my Black Crusade, but it is not time yet. There is still so much to do, and we are still so few. But more and more flock to me, as hell constantly turns a blind eye to their lesser subjects, and as heaven constantly looks down upon anyone who is not fitting of their neat little holy box. As long as all of life continues to be so morbid and depressing to the common man, I will have my followers. People who are desperate enough will take the deal of anyone who comes and gives them an attractive enough offer. I will absolve them of all their pains and woes, and all I ask in return is not their souls, but their loyalty, undying loyalty. Question 7. What is your domain like? The Void Realm is the black space outside of heaven, hell, and even the mortal universe. This, in a metaphorical way of speaking, is the universe's trash can. This is the place where all things will die eventually. Gods, sinners, demons, devils, planets, stars, universes, everything. Everything will meet its end there, including myself. But because I am already a black hole in the fabric of life, I have become attuned to it. I've adapted to it. I became part of it. So instead of it consuming me, I now rule it, and I bestow this offering to anyone who proves themselves worthy enough to adapt to a place that even life itself cannot exist. Being there as a mortal, as a sinner, even as a redeemed, it passively kills you just by being there. You will slowly rot and decay until you are nothing but ashes. But very few people with enough level of willpower and enough craziness are able to adapt to it, to become part of it. But it has to be one who is either so determined to not die, or one who has already given up on life entirely in their mania, laughing at their misfortune instead of giving in to despair. Once you give in to despair, that realm claims you. The great black sun will look down upon you, and with its horrible gaze, it will end you at last. There is no other afterlife beyond this. This is it. This is the end of all things here. Question 8. Do you have any pets? And he reiterates, not the kinky kind. Wise of you, because I could have gone off with that. If you are talking of more of the normal animal types such as dogs and cats, no, not really. If you want to count some of the horrors that walk this realm, that obey my command, then yes, I suppose you could count them, but they are more of the rotten flesh and bone variety, such as undead hounds, undead crows, and especially bone dragons. They are the most interesting. Question 9. Have any lifelong dreams to fulfill? If we went over every single dream and ambition I had, we'd be here all day. So to narrow it down, we will talk about the most grandest of mine, my Black Crusade. One day, I shall besiege the gates of heaven. I shall dismantle all of hell, and I shall even tear apart the mortal realm. There will be no more gods, no more archangels, no more sins, no more Lucifer, no more nothing. No gods, no kings, no masters. Mankind has no use for it. There will be no more heaven. There will be no more hell. There will only be the void realm, but not destroyed, not consumed, just suspended in a perpetual cycle of life, where no one truly dies. We all just live eternally, forever, making our own rules, fighting our own wars. I will bring an end to the suffering wrought by masters that no one can see. This world that I will create will give us all real freedom, where you can do what you wish and not be judged by some invisible master we can't even see. Finally, question 10. What powers or rivalries threaten your power or domain? When it comes to the general masses of heaven and hell, even some of the higher-up lords within those realms, they don't even know we exist. They don't even know the Void Realm is even a thing. And I'd like to keep it that way, nice and discreet. Technically, only Lucifer truly knows of my presence. Only they know who I really am. But they don't really know where I live, or what my realm is. As far as they're concerned, I'm just wandering around hell like anyone else. Lucifer refuses to acknowledge what I am. He knows what I truly have turned into underneath this false avian flesh of mine. But he refuses to admit it, because he doesn't want to acknowledge his failure. And his woe and depression in that, I will use it to my advantage. As for within the Void Realm, There are many different sub-factions that roam this place that try to challenge my power. Otar, the king of nothing, sees me as the creature that ended their world when I had nothing to do with it, but they're so determined in their illusion, and thus they send their undead hordes at me. Arukabar, the Death Eater, wants to face a final, beautiful end as a warrior, but he will never have it, for I shall never indulge him. Anuna Oskaru, the Last Mother, wishes to slay me and take what life force I have left, to revive their so-called Last Goddess and restore their little world. But I shall deny them this notion, and in fact, I will take the soul of their Last Goddess to obtain more power. Kalja, the Sky Screamer, wishes to slay me to try and create this so-called afterlife of theirs, known as the True Sky, or whatever the hell they call it, so they can live out their lives just camping and just being in their own weird form of freedom as nomads wandering around. Such a basic and simple life, without any grand design behind it. It sickens me. Yagu Valsolov, the Deacon of Hunger, that weird, disgusting snake creature, wishes to consume me, not for power, but simply just to eat me, for they just wish to eat everything. They have a brainless, mindless hunger about them with no reason and no logic. And last but not least, Agathodemon, the first, the oldest of all dragons. I do not even wish to even think about challenging them. But fortunately, they keep to themselves. At least for now. Let's hope it just stays that way. Thank you for your questions. This video went a little longer than one that goes beyond your tier level, but I'm willing to answer it, for these questions are always so delightful to answer. Thank you for your donation, and have a lovely one.